Good morning, everyone. This is Ryan Hillard and Shane Day with Leader One Financial and the Shane Day Mortgage team. And today on The Connection, I thought what might be fun to do. Shane and I have a lot of these conversations in the office that is one of the things that makes the office a little bit more fun and maybe a little bit different than a lot of other places that I've been. And in the effort of always, how can we get better? And one of the things that attracted me to coming and working here with Shane is the systems that they have in place. And so today we're going to talk about the 3 reasons that systems will help you perform at a higher level. Pretty important topic, I think. I think you'd agree.
Absolutely.
And
first and foremost, I want to say happy Friday to everybody. It's going to be a great weekend. Looking forward to a lot of sunshine and finally a little bit warmer weather. So hopefully, it'll be great.
Yeah, hopefully. One of the things I'll add, like just a quick preface to this, and the way that I started getting thinking about systems is from my coach, Kai McBride. And I was at a mastermind with him and we were chatting, and I forget if it was Kai or if it was someone else. And someone made a comment and this guy's like head exploded, right? And he's just like, oh my God, you just said something that just, I can't fathom that. And the long and short of it was, he was telling a story of he hears salespeople say different things, and all he really hears is that you just don't have a good system in place because the system for this person overrides the relationship because it creates the trust. The system will help provide what everybody wants, is that work-life balance, right? Because it creates efficiency. So you're not working all the time and you get to have more time with your family or doing fun things. And the system allows you to drop into any market and just replicate it and do it over and over. But what he said also is that one of the reasons that people don't do systems is because they get bored, right? Systems can be boring when all you're doing is replicating the same thing. Mm-hmm. So the 3 things we're going to talk about today with this are hiring and empowering team members. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about consistency. And then we're going to talk about how a system allows you to focus more time on what is in what you would call your genius zone, yeah. Right? Your productive activities. So I'm going to hand off and start asking Shane a couple questions here. So just first, hiring and empowering team members. This is like backing up a little bit of a step, right? First, because then it enables the system to perform. So do you want to talk about what that looks like?
Yeah, I would say good point earlier in reference to really identifying the people that help and support us grow. Like Tim Brahim, Julie Wykes, and Scott Bertrone, coaches of mine, mm-hmm. Unbelievable. They've changed my life.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I'll kind of bring this together, but really what I wanted to do was find good work-life balance. I wanted to create systems so that I could create that consistency. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, I think understanding that I valued being able to empower other people that were helping me achieve the goal. I mean, I'm the perfect example of someone in my past who wanted to control everything. Like I felt like I was the most passionate person in the world. I was so driven to give and felt like I just needed to be doing every single thing during the process possible.
And that's probably like 99% of salespeople, high D's, high I's. What's up, Marty? People like that in real estate that are loan officers and realtors feel that way. They need to control everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And it took a lot of coaching and Tim and Julie really banging my head against the wall, trying to help me understand that it didn't have to operate like that. And so, years ago, I discovered with the help of those guys, how to empower other people, how to realize that there are certain skills that I have and there are ones that I don't have. And to be able to open yourself up to, understand that there are things that you're good at and things that you're not. And I think that's an important step. Mm-hmm. In realizing, hey, let's work on surrounding yourself with the right individuals first and foremost. And that's, something that you got to do on a deep level. So my background being in psychology, I really go deep and understanding how do people thrive?
Yeah.
You know, what fulfills them, and then what areas can they complement my personality?
Yeah.
And, you know, what it does is then it empowers, you know, the other people that are helping you. We get a better level of performance, and hopefully I'm spending more time doing income producing type of activities
Right.
and staying in the zone where I'm better.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I mean, I think that you touched on it really briefly. There's an entire different discussion that we can and should have at some point about team building.
Yeah.
But just the first thing is, what the point that I'm hearing you say is empowering others to do the things that they're good at that you're not.
right.
So you can, you know, and making sure, and I know from working here, it's not just someone that's really good at doing that. It's also that has the right personality,
Yep.
that's a right cultural fit.
Yep.
Because you can meet good people that just might not be the best fit for the culture.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's a really good point. And I know this bleeds into team building a lot. So I'll try to stay away from that a little bit, but I think it's important to realize that identifying the right people, surrounding yourself with the right kind of people is everything. Because if you don't trust the people that you're surrounding yourself with, and they're not fulfilled fully, you're losing the cohesiveness. You're losing the glue that really allows you to kind of break out of yourself. So in my situation, the guy that wanted to control everything, you know, if I don't truly trust the people that I have around me,
Yep.
then I'm never going to manage that balance. So
yeah, so hiring and empowering the team members, again, that's kind of the backdrop, the foundation of being able to create the system. And so then what that leads to is consistency in the process, right? And so do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people focus on what does consistency really mean? And for me, it means not only is it that our clients need consistency, of course they do, but our internal team needs consistency in order to perform at the highest level, whether that be operations, whether it be processors, loan assistants. Everyone that is performing needs consistency. And so I used to think, and I'm going to kind of step back for a second. I used to think that if I was the best salesman in the world, I could overcome anything.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realize is really it's kind of the reverse. You can be the best salesperson. You could be an average salesperson. But if you've got systems, you've got consistency, you've got the right people surrounding you, you can perform at the highest level and have a lot of fun, empower other people. And at the same time, you can create culture and some of those other things we'll talk about another time in team building.
Yeah. Well, and I think that we can even boil this down to an even more micro level of what are we doing? What is the system that we're looking at our day? You and I talk about what does our perfect day look like?
Mm-hmm.
And, aside from going to a closing every day, that's our perfect day.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
5 closings a day.
5 closings a day. That's perfect day.
That's great.
And celebrate with a cocktail. But what we mean by that is how do we show up and run through the same routine every single day in order to be consistent, to know that we're getting as much efficiency out of ourselves and out of the day as possible.
Yep.
And then to help people put it into a different maybe of a mindset or thought around it is just if we talk about the loan manufacturing process, right? How we take a client, not from an even experience level, because that's a different conversation, but how we just do the basic things of doing our job, bring them in, have a conversation with them, and move them from conversation through application, through processing and underwriting and closing on a consistent level. And one of the things that I know about this team is that the system allows us to have 86% of our loans ready to fund 10 days before closing. Right. And that's important because we're doing it on a regular and routine basis to keep people focused on what they want to be focused on.
Right.
Buying a home.
That's the consistency that not only the internal team needs, but operation needs, referral partners need, obviously clients need, title companies need, we need, A lot of times we don't stop and think about what we really need.
Yeah.
In order for us to be happy and find fulfillment in this job or career or whatever it may be, and this would apply to really any business, we have to get really consistent with ourselves too. So.
And you know, like even in like a conveyor belt or a manufacturing process, because people can probably picture that a little bit better. I mean, if you're putting something through that conveyor belt, you know, regularly, and the team is used to, you know, working it on a regular basis, and then I come along and I throw something that's totally different on there. Now they need to stop.
Yeah.
They need to figure out what's on there. They need to reprogram the conveyor belt, and then they need to start it up. And that just cost us time and efficiency from everything else. And then once that one is done, they need to reprogram it back to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so by me being consistent with you, that allows the team to, again, just provide a result that is
A desired
result over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So, you know, not to belabor that point. The third one, though, is then it allows you to focus more time on what is in your genius zone. So first, maybe
let me define genius zone.
Define genius zone. You know where I was going.
So, you know, I think we all have a certain set of skills, and everybody's different. It's not that one person's better than another. It's that we need to identify who we are. And so, you know, I'll use me, for instance. I love talking to people. I love getting in front of people. I like having conversations. I don't care whether they have to do with business or they don't. But I need to be doing things where I am engaged.
Yeah.
And so should I be doing other things like sitting behind a desk? Probably not. It's just not my thing. Whereas there may be another individual that loves to work and their skills are finite, detail oriented. They want to be, you know, working in the paperwork.
Yep.
And that's what fulfills them. And so that's okay. But I think the better job we do at identifying exactly who we are and what we need to stay fulfilled. That's so my job is really identifying every single person in the process and making sure that they're finding the kind of fulfillment that will allow us to perform and everybody to be happy.
Okay.
And that is what I'm talking about by staying in our genius zone.
So then so now we know what the genius zone is. Yeah. Like Amanda here is saying right here, I love the details. Amanda's job, honestly, that stresses me out just thinking about it. Having to do with that is the 100% opposite of what I want to be doing on a daily basis. I'm like you. I want to be out. I want to be teaching classes. I want to be connecting with people.
Yep.
I want to be understanding what's important to them and how I can help them make a difference in what's important to them, whether it's through mortgage or otherwise. What's going on, Tiff?
All right.
Getting a little family love there. So then with that in mind, how does the system allow you to focus more time to stay in that zone?
Productive area.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, and this is something that everybody thinks about, I know this to be true. We all have the same amount of time during the day. And we want to make sure, the one thing that I've realized for me is I want to be efficient with my time. I have 4 little girls. I have a wife. I've got things that are beyond just my career. And so with that amount of time, I know that I need to spend more time being very productive and less time being inefficient. And so, you know, by realizing all the things we've talked about so far, it helps me to understand that, well, I need to be doing conversations and classes and being in front of more people. And so I think the gist of this is people need to identify themselves and figure out what they need to be doing.
Whatever I thought you were going to say too, or one of the things I thought you were going to say in addition to that was just intentional. It allows me to be doing the things, being intentional about doing the things that I know I need to be doing instead of getting distracted with the other things. And maybe just to kind of start wrapping this up and thinking about it from another perspective on our end.
You're stealing my term, man. Intentionality.
That's right. Listen, I speak Shane language after being here a couple months, but I think, and I've said this when I talked about my referral pyramid, my self-proclaimed referral pyramid of one of the reasons, and you can agree or disagree, that the next level after systems is experience, right? And focusing on an experience. And one of the reasons that people have good intentions around providing a good experience, but don't always get to do so, is because they get pulled back into these other things that are outside of their genius zone because they don't have a good system that's consistently replicated because they haven't hired and empowered the right team members. Just to wrap all three of those into one.
Absolutely the truth. I think in order to have a lot of fun in your work environment, in order to perform at the highest level, in order to create culture and empower people, you've got to be able to do these three things we've talked about. You got to do them at a high level, and you've got to stay in the present, which means you've got to be fully aware of yourself and your surroundings. And, I think we're going to leave a lot of people hanging because we could talk about a lot of stuff.
A lot.
But,
well, and always would love to hear from other people. What, is there something that we talked about that we should expand on? Is it team building? Is it, okay, now you talked about consistency. How are you creating consistency? What did you do to hire the right, I guess that's team building. What did you do to hire the right team members? How did you identify what your genius zone is? Is it DISC assessment, which we do? What does that look like? What does the experience aspect look like? There's a lot of other things. So if there is something that we touched on that someone wants to hear more about, let us know. We're happy to expand on that.
Absolutely.
But I think this is a good place to wrap that up for today. So thanks everybody for checking us out. Let us know what questions you have, and we hope that everybody has a fantastic weekend.
Happy Friday.
All right.
See ya.